Hey everyone, welcome to this Meta Product Sense interview, and we have the perfect person here to play the role as candidate. He was a product manager at Meta, also a senior product manager at Google, and so he can give you a very good idea of what a perfect Product Sense interview looks like. No pressure. Mark, how are you doing?
No pressure. Tom, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark. I've been a product manager at Meta and Google for a long time. And this is one of my favorite questions. It's also one of the toughest, and it's something you're going to need a lot of practice on to get right and have fun doing it. All right, Tom,
All
back
right.
to you.
Well, let's get straight into it, Mark. Okay, the question I want to ask is, how would you design a fitness app for Meta?
Oh, interesting. A fitness app for Meta. Okay. All right, let me think about this. First, let me ask you a couple clarifying questions. First question. One, why is Meta interested in building a fitness app?
Yeah, fair question. Well, obviously, Meta's been a big part of people's lives online, and it's aware that staring at a screen isn't the best thing for people to be doing with their lives. A fitness app is one way of getting the community off the screen and together in the real world.
Interesting. That's a really good point. I know I spend many 2 hours of myself staring at screens like today, and so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, great. Next question. How quickly does Meta want to launch this product?
Let's say next 3 months.
Wow. Okay, got it. So we're really looking for something
Yep.
MVP-ish. Got it. And next question: is there any particular market that Meta was looking at, or what do you think about launch plan here?
Yeah, let's just focus on the US for now.
Okay, got it. Let's
Yeah.
focus on the US. All right, great. So the first part is clarifying questions, right? This is what I call the tip of the spear. This helps do two things. Is it helps one understand the context for why you're building this product. You'll notice I ask why. I think asking why or asking for more context is such a pivotal part of this question or part of this success of this question. Um, the second part of it is to constrain the problem, right? Which is, okay, what markets, what time frame, what platforms, things like that. Anything you can do to make it just a little bit smaller that makes your clarifying questions really really effective. So thank you very much. Let me take a couple minutes and let me think about how I'm going to approach this design problem.
Yeah, sure.
So the way I'd like to approach this problem, this is a classic product problem, and the way I want to talk about it is in this framework. So one, I want to talk about Meta's mission and why this is important to Meta's mission. Next, I want to create some goals for this product. Then I'm going to talk about the ecosystem and segmentation. We're going to prioritize and pick a segment to go after. Next, we're going to talk about some pain points for users in that segment, people in that segment. And then we're going to craft a couple of solutions, and we're going to pick a solution that we think is good for our MVP. And then last, we're going to spend a couple of minutes just talking about metrics to know that we're on shape for a successful product launch. After you've got your clarifying questions, comes a section called the preview, right? And there's an expression that's in sales that says, tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them what you told them. The preview is a section that basically says, hey, I'm going to talk about mission, goal, segmentation, pain points, solutions, metrics. This is really important. This lets your product manager interviewer know that you're a pro, right? And it lets you know that you're taking this question very seriously and how you're going to answer the question. They may want you to focus on some areas and not others in some instances. So it's really good to lay out. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. So let's start with a mission. So Meta's mission is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. And when I think about this problem of fitness, this problem space about fitness, actually, I think this is a pretty interesting space. In fact, I think there's nothing more primitive. In fact, if you really think about fitness, right? Fitness has been important to humans ever since we're running around on the savannah, hunting deer, right? Fitness has been around since the Olympics and people doing world games and competing together. So fitness is something that's very, very, very primitive to the human experience, and I think it's something that Meta could take a good stab at and launch some interesting products. So first, let's create a little bit of a product goal now that we know that this makes sense for Meta to work on. So a product goal. So if I'm thinking just broadly about what we want this product to do, and I think it really stems from the mission and what you said you wanted to accomplish in this. And I think our high level goal should be to bring the world together through activity and fitness. And I think we should keep it pretty high level and pretty simple, and we'll go into more details here. And I think we're gonna score ourselves and how well we're doing on a couple of axes. So one is acquisition. When we launch this product, we want to demonstrate strong acquisition and that users resonate with this product and like it. And the second thing is for users that do adopt this product, we want to demonstrate strong engagement, and we'll talk a little bit more about metrics there. So again, our goal is bringing the world closer together through activity fitness, and we're going to measure this through acquisition and engagement. Next section is mission and context. This is so important. Meta is a very, very mission-driven company, and it's important to tie the mission and the problem space together. I actually like to do it fairly simply and fairly powerfully. The bigger and more bold you can make it, I think the more impactful it is. Try not to go into too many details, however, because really the interviewer wants to get to the meat of the question, right, which is around pain points and solutions, and we'll get there. Next is a goal. It's very important for your product to have a goal. Like you notice in this case, it was a very broad-based goal, right? Bring the world together through activity and fitness. And then I had some little sub-goals that we're going to measure through acquisition engagement. I think it's really important to have a good goal. Your goal aligns you with your mission, and also your goal aligns you downstream with your making sure you're finding the right segment and that you're finding the right solution that aligns with your goal, right? If there's a through line through all of these things, that's golden. Okay. Now, next, let's talk about the market and segmentation a little bit. Obviously, Facebook caters to 3+ billion people in the world, but I think we needed to be a little bit more narrow than that, obviously, and figure out what market we're going after. And so when I look at the fitness ecosystem, just in general, it's actually a pretty broad ecosystem. There's people like you and me that get out and exercise, right? And obviously there's people who get out and exercise with. But there's also a broad ecosystem around that. There's trainers and there's doctors and there's gyms and there's training programs and there's yoga studios and there's just a broad ecosystem. There are people who make weights and manufacturers and things like that. So there's a broad ecosystem around fitness and activity in general. But I want to focus on one specific area because this is Meta, and I think that the biggest area to focus on is people who exercise. Right. So we're gonna start there, or actually I shouldn't say people who exercise, but people who really care about fitness. And think it's important to them. And we're going to do some more segmentation there. And I think we might come up with solutions that may need trainers or may need other parts of this ecosystem. And so while we're focused on people, we may do some things to kind of stand up those markets, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so let's create a segmentation for people that we actually want to market to. So let's look at I think one useful segmentation might be motivation, right? So why do people exercise? Why do they get active in the first place? And I think that might be a good way to segment users. So I think people do these things for a number of reasons, and I'm gonna list them out, and then what I'm going to do is score them by reach and impact. And when I do that, that's going to help us prioritize and pick a segment that we want to work on. So in terms of motivations for why people exercise, I think one of the main reasons people exercise is like diet and weight loss, right? So I'm always hearing people say like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds, I need to lose 5 pounds, or some people need to lose more just based on their own objectives. But that's a big objective why people get active in the first place, is they want to do some kind of weight loss. That's one reason. The second reason why people want to do this is just for general fitness and health, right? They know that it's important to be active. They know that it's important to get outside. They know that it's important for their long-term health. They do things, and they know this is important, but maybe they don't do it. So it's really more of an aspirational thing. But the primary motivation is really around fitness and health. And then the third reason people do exercise is perhaps they're training for an event, right? So I do events from time to time. Maybe they're practicing for a run or practicing for some kind of ride, or maybe they're doing some Thanksgiving runathon or something, and they want to train for some event and get better at it so they can perform. So here's 3 segments. I think there's probably more, but I think these are kind of interesting, and they can overlap a little bit here too. But if I look at scoring these segments, I'm going to score each by impact. I'm sorry, by reach and impact. So if we take a look at diet and weight loss, I think this is a pretty large segment, right? So I'm going to categorize these small, medium, large, just quick T-shirt. So I think this is a large segment, but I think the impact is medium. which is, people who are interested in fitness. I think there's a lot of people here that would rather just take a Ozempic pill and achieve that goal that way. So I think the impact is kind of medium for that. For the fitness and health users, I also think this is a very large segment. And actually, I think the impact is large here too. I think these people are they're aspirational. Maybe they're not moving around yet, but they're generally aspirationally know this is important to them. And I think this would have a large impact on their lives. And so I think that's a large again, large reach, large impact. And the last segment, training for an event. I think this is in terms of reach. Actually, I don't think this is a huge amount of people, if I'm honest. Even though I may do it, but I think the amount of people training for an event is actually, in the grand scheme of things, pretty small. And then if I looked at impact, a lot of the people who are training for events are usually have some pretty good training regimens already, and they have a plan already. And I think Meta might be able to help them, but I think the impact here is probably medium at best. So when I look at all of these segments by reach and impact, I think one is really clear to me, and I think that's kind of the fitness and health area that we really want to target users who are interested in fitness and health and improving their own fitness and health as a place to target our goal here. And if we do that, right, if we can target these people, that really contributes to our goal. And again, our goal again is bringing the world together through activity and fitness. So these users are doing that. That's aligned with our goal. So let's focus on that. All right, next, let's talk about segmentation. You'll notice I actually broke it down into two areas. I broke it down into one, ecosystem, and second, segmentation. Ecosystem is important when you've got a really broad, rich environment like this. Fitness, huge area, lots of players, right? So I like to call this ecosystem, and I like to talk about the players, but just briefly, and then to focus on the part of the ecosystem that you want. If it's a two-sided market, for example, right, you want to acknowledge, hey, this is a two-sided market, and pick one side of the market and stand up the other side of the market. And the next big subcomponent of this, of course, is segmentation. Very, very important to have clear segments. You'll hear people say it's MECE. MECE is really important. It is pretty important, not critically important, but it's still have good, clear segments. I like to think of it kind of a bell curve, and to have different areas in that bell curve, and then to prioritize and pick segments. I like reach and impact as two of my favorite go-tos as a way to prioritize a segment. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, fitness and health. That makes sense.
Awesome.
I'm on board. Yeah.
All right, great. Let's keep walking through. So let's talk about pain points now. So let me put my feet in the shoes of someone in the who's got a kind of fitness and health motivation mindset, and think about what are their pain points. And I'm really thinking about people that may be doing it, but maybe not be doing it that much. So again, it's about getting people out to do this and getting people to do this more. So if I look at kind of pain points, I'm just going to walk through the journey here. So first part of the journey is where do I start? Literally, what am I going to do? What kind of exercises am I going to make? I just don't know where to start, right? So if I'm not currently exercising, I want to do it. I'm going to need some ideation. I'm going to need some inspiration. Kind of a close kissing cousin to that is what to do, right? So again, am I going to do, running? Am I going to do walking? Am I going to do a spin class? Am I going to do a yoga class? Am I going to go do, HIIT? Am I going to do, go join a CrossFit? Not really sure, right? So kind of close, where to start, what to do, kind of similar things here. Next problem I have is, I'm usually not that motivated when I do things by myself. I actually like to do things with other people. So my next question is who to do it with. I would love to have a friend to do things with, but I also don't want to join someone who's already running marathons, right? I want to find someone who's maybe in the same area I'm with. But anyways, just something to think about, because I know in the past when I've done exercise that I do it a little bit by myself, but I quickly get bored, and I find that it's not sustainable, which actually is kind of a next pain point here, which is how do I keep motivated? How do I keep doing this on a repeat basis? They say the old habits are you do something for 21 days and it becomes a habit. So how do I keep motivated? Just going down the list here, or just thinking about more pain points. Another is how do I track things? Right now, maybe I have a Fitbit, but maybe a lot of people don't. So as someone just getting into health, how do I know I'm on track, and how do I kind of keep on going?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that might be enough. Let me think if there's any more here. A couple more things that are interesting. One is like, what about facilities? Like, if I'm going to go do exercise, like what facilities, what gyms am I going to train in, things like that. And the last thing that I can't believe I didn't touch on at all is like, what about diet? Like, what are my, do I have? Am I going to change my diet? Do I need to eat better? Things like that. All right.
Okay.
So, wow, we've got a lot of pain points here. So we've got, let me think, about 6, 7, 8 pain points. But now I want to prioritize. Right. There's a lot of pain points here, and I want to prioritize. And the pain points that I'm thinking about prioritizing are pain points that I think are probably the deepest, right, and most fundamental. And the thing that I think are probably the most frequent, that is, the most users can resonate. And again, the reason why I'm picking these things is I'm going back to my goal, which is, I want to make a product that brings the world together through fitness and activity. So I want to find pain points that kind of deliver on these things, or are kind of closely aligned with these things. So the the pain points I'm going to pick I'm going to pick actually 3 of them, and then we'll craft some solutions around it. But 3 of them are kind of calling out to me. So one is kind of, where do I start and what do I do? Just a pure ideation part of it with, right? Mm-hmm. The second part is the social element, which is, who do I do it with, right? Which I think is an important part. I might do it alone, but I'd love to have activity partners or someone to share the experience with. And the last part is, how do I track it? And tracking can mean lots of different things, but I think it's related to motivation, and I think it's related to keeping people engaged over long periods of time, and I think that's really kind of important.
Okay, right. So sorry, Mark, I just wondered if you could give me a bit of insight into why you've picked those 3 pain points.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I picked those 3 points because I think they're mostly aligned with the goal that we picked. And there's a couple that I didn't do. For example, what facilities to pick, right? I think that's important, but I think we can solve that later down the road. Also, diet, super important to an overall fitness program, but I think that's probably something we can do down the road. Motivation one is right on the bubble for me, but I think we can do that with a combination of tracking and who. So that's how I pick the pain points. And I think this makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think they match they fit with the mission and with what the general business objectives are. So.
Next is pain points. This actually, I think, is the most important part of the interview, because if you have good pain points, you can come up with good solutions. If you have crappy pain points, you're not going to come up with good solutions. and so I like to brainstorm, really. I like to come up with 7, 8 pain points, minimum 5. If you get to 10, you're a little deep, but that's okay. I like to come up with lots of pain points. Some people like to come up with just one pain point. I actually like to have a few that I like to cluster together that I think are logical, again, based upon how painful I think they are and how impactful they are. And that should then set you up for the solution part. All right, cool. So let's talk about solutions next. So I'm going to come up with a couple different solutions here, and then I'm going to pick one based upon the one that I think most closely aligns with the goal. And again, one of our constraints here is we want to get this launched in 3 months, right? So don't want to make something too ambitious here. So I'm going to come up with a few ideas. So the first one I'm going to come up with is something I'm going to call meta fitness challenges, right? And so this is going to be a series of challenges that will offer, and I think this is where we bring the trainers in, right? Again, this is where we stand up the market a little bit, where we bring trainers in, and we have some fitness challenges. And so fitness challenges are going to be on things that are very reachable and approachable. We're going to have maybe a walk fitness challenge, or maybe a short ride fitness challenge, or maybe a yoga fitness challenge. We're going to have different fitness challenges that people can participate in. And as they participate in these fitness challenges, they can do it with trainers in their local community. They can do it with friends. They can have other friends come in, like 30-day fitness challenges, things like that. I think that could be really interesting. They can get little badges and collect sets and gamify it a little bit. So I can kind of see a little bit of a roadmap there. But I think we could get something up really, really quick around fitness challenges. The next thing I think could be interesting, and this is aligning a little bit with some work that has been done on Instagram, which is maybe we have live fitness events, right? So maybe we have people who are doing, kind of national scale workouts right? It could be yoga workouts, it could be walking workouts, it could be, you could have a gym setting, you can have a beach setting where people get together, but it's live, right? So you're together there with people, you're experiencing the thing together, and it's on, it's on video, and it's something you can actually engage in, and you feel that energy. I think some of the power there is harnessing our video capabilities and harnessing our ability, just like, to exercise and do something with someone is so much more motivating than when you're doing it alone, right? And so the advantage here is you're concentrating time and you're getting people together all at the same time. I know Peloton does this very successfully, but I think Meta could do this, partnering with trainers to pull this together for people. So I think that's kind of solution number two, which is our kind of Meta live fitness events. And solution number three, a little bit different. Let's call this the Meta Fitness Tracker. And I think there's, a lot of people have these fitness devices. And I think we could, and again, this goes to tracking and things like that, that we highlighted. I think we could integrate with our fitness trackers and make it a much more social experience. Like, I can connect with people on Fitbit, but none of my friends are on Fitbit. Also, I can connect with people, but like, I have a Fitbit, I can't connect with Apple. And I remember even when I did have an Apple, I really couldn't connect with anybody on Fitbit. So anyway, it's kind of socially awkward because everyone had different platforms. But if we could make a cross fitness tracker platform, doesn't matter what you have, and I could share these experiences, and it's a fitness tracker that, one, helps me track some goals. Maybe we have some AI here that sets some goals based upon where I am, gets me moving, proposes some exercise, actually tracks it, and then also brings my friends in as part of this so we can share our relative metrics. I think that could be interesting. All right, so we've got three solutions here. We've got our Meta Fitness Challenge, we've got our Meta Live Fitness events, and we've got our Meta Fitness Tracker. Actually, I could see Meta launching any one of those three things. The question is which one I think is going to be most impactful. So I'm going to score these based upon impact, and also based upon our goal. And so when I look at the fitness challenges, I think this is going to have clearly a large impact because it's very broad, and I think it'll be very compelling. The second thing, it aligns really well with our goal. The live fitness events, I think it's funny. I think this aligns really well with our goal, but I'm actually not sure how big it is, because anytime you're concentrating people at a single time, you're making them forced together a little bit. And so I think it might actually have a little less impact than some of the others. And it might also constrain the type of activities that you're doing. So there might be activities that don't do well on live fitness events. So that one I'm going to prioritize a little bit less. On the fitness tracker one, so I think this one has kind of actually, if I'm really honest about it, this has a small impact on users because it would require you to have a device, right? And that's cool, but most people don't have a device, and a lot of people have a device, keep it in their drawer most of the time anyways. So actually, and while I think it aligns with our goal, I think the impact is kind of low. So out of these, I think the Meta Fitness Challenge, that seemed to me like a really good product. It seems like a great MVP, and I think we could launch that MVP and grow it and grow it and grow it. And we could add other things, like we could add fitness tracking, we could add fitness events to it over time. But that's where I think we should start. And last thing before we open up to any questions here, let me just talk about metrics a little bit and how we're going to score this. So like we talked about at the beginning, we really want to take a look at adoption, and we really want to take a look at engagement. So how I would look at this fitness challenge is, one, I would look at adoption, right? I would look at the new users who are registering for the service. I would look at the new events being subscribed at. I think we'd want to have our ecosystem from trainers involved in this too. So I measure new users there. And then on the engagement side, certainly would look at, the DAU and MAU and especially things like 30-day retention rate, right? Because we want to make sure not only are people starting exercise, right, but they're continuing on through that. And 30-day retention is a great way to help describe that metric. And then when you're doing your solutions, you're only solving for the pain points you picked, right? You're not solving for other things. Just have a very narrow solution set. In this instance, we came up with three very different solutions, all equally plausible, and all equally small, right? You notice our constraint was we wanted this in 3 months. So like three small things. Were they big? No. Were they huge? No. Could they go places? Absolutely. But three simple things that really kind of hit our pain points. And then the last thing I talked about was metrics. Did I go into detail? Nope, just super high level, and only do it if you have time. And the reason why you don't go too into detail is because there's a whole other interview for that, which is the analytics interview where you're talking a lot about metrics. So this is just giving them a taste of analytics, but not too deep. All right, so let me kind of summarize what we've done here today. So in quick summary, we started with a problem. We started with a problem to design a fitness program for Meta. And so what we've done is we've created a really cool MVP solution called Meta Fitness Challenges, right? And we designed that around core problems of our segment about where to start and what to do and who to do it with, and also some tracking capabilities. And that aligned well with our segmentation about people who are interested in fitness and health. And ultimately, I think if we do this, this will help deliver on our goal, which we set, which is to bring the world together through activity and fitness. And ultimately, this rolls up to fundamentally serve Meta's mission, which is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. There we have it.
Okay, nice, Mark. Yeah, I think actually, like I could see the challenges and the events actually combining. Right, in the future, you could have the fitness challenges, and you could have live events as part of that. So I could definitely imagine those things combining.
And then the last thing I like to do is summarize, right? Just like when I gave the preview where I went from kind of top to bottom, starting from mission all the way down to we're going to build an MVP. Your summary goes the other way. We're like, okay, what did we do today? We built an MVP and take it all the way back up to the mission. So it's a nice way to bookend your overall interview.
I actually wanted to ask you before we wrap up, what about the risks? What risks does this product have?
Great question. Great question. So I think there's a couple of unique risks here. One risk I always think about is bad actors. You're getting people together, perhaps in IRL, right, to get together and exercise. And so we want to make sure that the people who are getting together are strongly connected socially. So we're not having strange people come in and bad actors happening. That's one risk. Second risk is probably also just health risk, right? We want to make sure that we're advising. We're not advising, but we want to make sure that people are doing exercise and fitness programs that are kind of safe and sane, right? This is not like, hey, running and skydiving together. It's just like, no, right? This is not like extreme sports. This is about fitness that is good for humans. And third thing, we're probably going to have, probably a fair amount of legal disclosure and things like that are going to be around, talk to your doctor and things like that. And I think these are really important, especially for Meta, because people are going to jump into this program, and invariably with large populations, there will be problems. And so we want to make sure that people have the right resources, they can ask questions, and the right resources in the program, so that we're offering a really safe and sane program that's helping people to do exercise in a way that's healthy for them and makes them healthier and more fit.
Great, Mark. I think that brings us to the end of the interview. Great stuff. Well done.
All right, awesome.
How was that?
That was great. Thanks, Tom.
Hello. I really hope you found that useful. If you did, you can like and subscribe, and why not come visit us at IGotAnOffer.com. There you can find more videos, useful frameworks, and question guides, all completely free. And you can also book expert feedback one-to-one with our coaches from Google, Meta, Amazon, etc. Thank you, and good luck with your interview.